Hello, welcome back. Today we try and progress to the fourth round of the FA Cup and get back to form in the league. Hello, it's a very warm welcome to episode number 114 of From the Bottom to the Top as we try and take a National League South side, in this case Weymouth, from the bottom all the way up to the top. And this is our journey. My name's Mark, and on today's episode we have for you two games. It's an FA Cup third round tie against Championship rivals Huddersfield Town at the Bob Lucas, and then we remain at the Bob Lucas for Championship match day 27 against West Bromwich Albion. We've not started the second half of the season in particularly good form. We've not played any matches since you were last with us, so no highlights in between today. Not quite sure why I'm in the wrong year. I was looking at the FA Cup, knocked out in the fourth round last year. We'll come to that in just a moment, but yeah, recent form, we've only won one in the last five, getting knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Caribou Cup. Seemed to have knocked us a little bit. A 3-1 loss against Newcastle. I don't know why, because Newcastle are Premier League fodder. Then, of course, a 2-1 win against Birmingham City, and then a 2-2 draw against Sheffield United, a 0-0 draw against Luton Town, and then a 2-1 loss against Hull City. All that off the back of a 6-0 win over Queen's Park Rangers. So we need to pick that form back up, and let's hope that today is the day that we can do it. Right, let's have a quick roundup we are in the transfer window, of course. So first things first, let's have a quick look. Yao potentially is coming in. We're waiting for a work permit for him. He's loan until the end of the season if we can get him in. Nathan Wood, also a central defender. I'm just wondering if that comes off. Do we actually need him? I don't know. Who's the better player out of these two? Yao or Nathan Wood? Can we compare him with Nathan Wood? We can. Let's have a quick look. On paper, so Yo is better in the aerial, technicals, attacking, slightly better Nathan Wood, vision. So they're very, very comparable, actually. If anything, Nathan Wood's a better defender overall. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we need to see how that comes about. Anyway, we have put a bid in for Nathan Wood. I'm not convinced that we will get him because there are a number of other teams in for him. So maybe the Yo one comes off. I don't know. So that's what's happening in the transfer market at the moment. One other bit of news for you is Yao Virginia has announced that he is going to look at his options at the end of his contract. He is out of contract. If we go up here, Yao Virginia, he's going to have a look at his options. So potentially we do need to look for another goalkeeper, even if we have a goalkeeper in for the second half of the season, with a view to him perhaps leaving us at some point. The one thing he has got on him is he's got a 375,000 minimum release clause, which isn't a lot, to be fair. So he could well be on his way out the door. Whether we get a goalkeeper sooner or later will depend on whether we get rid of him sooner than later. And of course, no point in him hanging around if we can bring somebody in of a similar caliber to him. We're struggling to find anybody at the moment, needless to say. And the big question mark over Ben Winterbottom, of course, whether he is capable of stepping up to the mark. We will see. All that coming up. A quick check on the injury list. Nobody there. So all things are good and dandy from that point of view. So there's not a great deal else I can tell you. We'll have a quick look at our previous against Huddersfield. A 1-0 win against Huddersfield at the St John Smith Stadium. Ross Stewart, a penalty late in injury time in that one, giving us the win. We don't want it as close today if we can help it. Did say we got knocked out in the FA Cup last season in the fourth round, as it were. Lost to Charlton on that occasion at the Valley, and that was the one year previous to that. I think we got through to the third round, did we? Or did we get knocked out further? First round, we got knocked out. Harrogate Town beating us 2-0. We have been no further than the fourth round. The fourth round is the furthest we have been in the FA Cup. Be good to try and get to a similar position again this year. And one thing we do need is a little bit of a cup run to help us with this, because our overall balance is somewhat subdued, and we also need to do something about our current spending, because we are a little bit over our budget, so we need to pull that back in line if we can, albeit I'm sure it'll get wiped out if we get promoted to the Premier League. One final thing to check on, of course, then, if we go back, is just a recap on how the Championship looks going into today. Fulham are top on 60. We are second on 57. Burnley are 3 points behind us now on third. And then come Derby County in fourth, some 4 points behind them, 7 points behind us. Bournemouth are another point behind them in fifth, and then another point behind them, Millwall in sixth, and they have a 6 point gap down to Middlesbrough, just outside the playoff places, and we are 15 points inside that playoff places as it currently stands. So that is how it all looks going into today's game. Obviously, we'll come back to the Championship and that game against West Brom, who are currently in 13th place. They've only won one of their last five, drawn two, lost two, and today's other opponents in the cup have lost four, won one of their last five games. Let's hope their form, particularly bad form, continues today. That would be rather splendid if it did. I see Norwich and Stoke are playing their game in hand as well on the 8th, on Tuesday. So that's all coming up. Right, without any more to do, let's get into it. The team that we face is, we're in the wrong year again. The team we face is Huddersfield. Let's have a look and see who will face them. This is the team that faces Huddersfield in this Emirates FA Cup third round. Yale Virginia is in goal despite his poor performance in the last match. I did toy with whether playing Winterbottom, but we'll let it go for now. If Virginia has a bad game again today, then it's quite possible against West Brom we might see Winterbottom, especially as Virginia is talking about leaving us. G, Olsen and DeBeo, the defensive line. Johnson and Lawrence are the wing-backs. Russell Denny makes a start between them. For the rested O'Grady, Mackin, Patterson and Derry are the wide players, with Nzingo sat behind Wakachu. And then on the bench today, it's Winterbottom, Armitage, Linton, Holman, Adamson, Jurich, O'Grady, Mackin, Franson and Jefferson. And here we are back at the Bob Lucas. Just one of our last five, drawn two, lost two. And Huddersfield looks like they're playing in a green, only won one of their last 4-5 as well. They're playing a 4-2-4. Two wide players, two up in attack today as well. Danny Cowley, their manager. 13 minutes on the clock. They have a corner. It's headed away by Olsen. Or was it G? And the ball is recycled, but we pushed them back for a minute. Bennett. And the ball in. And referee's given a penalty. Johnson having his man down. VAR would have perhaps had a different view of that. And we could go one behind here. It's Winks. And Yale Virginia goes the wrong way. Good penalty. But let's just go back and have a look at the incident that led to it. Bennett comes in. And Diarra. Well, Johnson played the ball, surely. That, to me, Johnson has played the ball. I'm not too sure about that. As I say, VAR, I think, may have had a different view to it. I think we've been hard done by. And just confirmation that that spot kick was put away. 15 minutes on clock. Russell Denny to the near post. Patterson heads it back in. Russell Denny tidying up. And Zingo couldn't get that ball under control. Johnson will bring it under control as we try and get back on level terms. Russell Denny. G. Johnson. Johnson to G. G's on his own. G has a go. And goalkeeper saves it. It's a bit tame in the end of the corner. Russell Denny again on this near side. This time into mid. It's gone in. Charlie Olsen gets his head to it. His first goal of the season. What a time to score it on 18 minutes. We are level and no more than we deserve, probably. Certainly didn't deserve to go down by that penalty, and Olsen come rumbling in there. Another corner. 21 on the clock. This one to the back post. It's in again. James De Beo this time, his fourth goal of the season. And on 21 minutes, take a 2-goal lead. So not being able to do anything from corners. We've scored 2 all from corners. De Beo getting up above the defenders. And it was almost a free header. Goalkeeper getting his hands to it, but couldn't keep it out. Lewis with a goal kick. 31 minutes on the clock. Norrington Davis. Nakamaya. As they try and get out. And we've thwarted them. Russell Denny playing well in that midfield today. Yao Virginia falls on the ball. As Olsen saw it back to him. Yao Virginia rolls it out to Olsen, who has picked up a yellow card. Olsen comes forward. Derry. De Beo. De Beo to Nzingo. Nzingo plays that through. Nice ball into Derry. Derry now just gets into space and Derry puts it away. What a goal. That properly could well be goal of the season, because once he'd picked that ball up from, and it was a lovely ball in from Nzingo. We'll see it again. It's out wide and a 2-goal cushion going into half-time. Lovely weighted ball with a curve on it. Curved it away from Norrington Davis. Derry runs onto it. He's got Wakachu in the middle here, and we know what Wakachu can do. But Derry, not under any pressure, cuts inside, and he's still got Wakachu there that he can pass to put it away. Goal is gaping. And who's this coming now? Patterson has also come in to join the fray, and he tucks it between the goalkeeper and the post. Johnson with a throw-in on that far side. 41 minutes on the clock. Are we going to score again before half-time? Johnson chips this one over. Nzingo. Oh, it was a poor ball in the end, but De Beo tidying up. Lawrence. Oh, Lawrence has to go from distance, and there wasn't much in it. Last highlight, Lawrence seeing the goalkeeper off his line. Thought he'd have a go, but it was just not dipping enough. Olsen. De Beo. We are in the second minute of 3 added on here at the end. Lawrence, Russell Denny, out to Derry. Olsen to G. G finds Johnson. Johnson comes forward. Johnson chips this ball in, and Derry gets his second of the game, 7th of the season. And at half time, we will be 4-1 leaders, 3-goal lead over Huddersfield, and 1 foot in the 4th round for the second year running. And Johnson, and we've certainly shrugged off. Lovely header from Derry, hung that up. No more highlights in that first half. It's been a bit topsy-turvy, and there XG isn't far off it. It's just they've had 3 shots, 1 on target, 1.11. They have had the bulk of the possession. We've not been top dog for a change in possession, but we'll take that if we're in front by the amount that we are in front. Certainly, we're finding a little bit more form today, which is good, having been a bit down after the last few games. 8 shots, 6 on target, 1.20 and 45% of the possession. Olsen on 18, De Bayo on 21, Derry on 33, and 3 minutes on 48, 3 minutes into injury time at the end of the first half. Certainly a 3-goal cushion, which we need to hang on to in the second half. And if not, add more to it. First highlight of the second half, 48 minutes, and it's a corner and headed over the top this time. It was De Bayo again. And with 70 minutes on the clock, just for the moment, making 2 changes. We're taking off Travis Patterson and replacing him with Stefan Adamson. And Wakachu has come off, and we've replaced him with Daniel Jebison. 83 on the clock. And we have a free kick. Just thinking about making our final changes. Russell Denny with the free kick. He's going to have a go direct, and he scored his 2nd goal of the season. I think his other one may have been from a free kick as well. And 5-1 is the lead. And what a free kick that was. We've had 2 probably goals that may be front runners for goal of the season, to be fair. Curled shot, and Lewis getting nowhere near it. And with 84 minutes on the clock, making our final 3 changes. Billy G is off. Will Armitage comes on to replace him. Travis Patterson, we'd already replaced. Reece Russell Denny is off. O'Grady Macken comes on to replace him. And Reece Russell Denny, I think, will pick up a player of the match, having scored that rather fantastic free kick. And the final change that we're making is Glory Nzingo is off. And Nicholas Franson comes on to replace him. There are no more highlights in this game. We are through to the 4th round and a draw to come. Reece Russell Denny picking up a player of the match. 3 key passes, 1 clear-cut chance, 2 assists, and a fine free kick, which gave us the 5th goal when it looked like a second half with nothing in it. They've had 6 shots, just 2 on target. One of those a goal, of course. 1.23, that's Harry Winks' goal from the penalty spot. Nothing more than a consolation, as it turned out. We had 11 shots, 8 on target, 1.42, but only 44% of the possession. I'd take that every day. Lower possession and more goals. And a resounding win against Huddersfield United puts us through to the 4th round. Who will we get? Well, we will come back for that draw when it's out. Let's have a quick look. The draw for, I think it's on Monday, actually. I'm not sure if it gives us the detail in there. We're 7 days down to the game against West Brom, which is good news because we get everybody to have a rest. But other scorelines, Ultram getting a fantastic win over Queen's Park Rangers, 5-3. Bournemouth beating Aston Villa, Blackpool beating Barnsley. Barrow and Sheffield Wednesday will have to play again, and that's a bit of a knock for Sheffield Wednesday. Birmingham beating Walsall 4-1. Brentford beating Stoke 2-0. Brighton beating Hull 3-1. Shame we couldn't do that. Burnley 2, Wrexham 0, Colchester 1, Portsmouth 0, Crawley Town 1, Bolton 0. Crystal Palace beating York City 4-1. Leeds beating Southampton 4-3. An all Premier League tie that, of course. Liverpool 3 beating Swansea 2-1. Lincoln City beating Watford by 2-1. League One beating the Championship side. Manchester City putting Salford to bed by 3-0. Middlesbrough and Leicester will play again. Millwall beating Aldershot Town by 2-0. Newcastle beating West Ham 3-0. Both Premier League sides, of course. Preston beating Coventry 3-2. Sheffield United beating Swindon Town 2-0. Sunderland and Norwich a 2-2 draw. Tottenham 3, Plymouth 1, Blackburn 2, Tranmere 1. Our 5-1 win over Huddersfield, of course. West Brom beating Wigan by 3-0. Wolves 1, Derby 0, and the Oval 4, Chesterfield 3. That's the FA Cup. As I said, we will come back for the draw, which I think happens in a couple of days ahead of that. But for now, we should be coming back, if not before, in time for match day against West Brom, who we have played only once so far this series. Lost to them 1-0 last time out. Tom Beadle, the scorer, on 62 minutes in a very tightly matched game. And you come back with just a little bit of news before the draw for the fourth round of the Emirates FA Cup. Joe has come in. The Brazilian has come in as the in centre of defence. He's come in from INT, Brazilian side anyway. International, I think that should be. But obviously we've got it on the pre-fixed, as it were. And he's hopefully going to come in and shore up our defence a little bit, gives us a little bit of extra oomph in that defence, as you will see. His technique is quite good. His tackling's reasonable. Balance is good. Good jumping reach. Good teamwork and so on. Just needed somebody else to come in there and give us a little bit of impetus, and we'll see how he progresses whilst he is here. Right, with that all said and done, let's go through to the draw for the fourth round of the FA Cup. Here we are with the fourth round of the FA Cup, and let's get the draw underway. A number of teams still to play: Manchester United, Oxford United, Leicester, Middlesbrough, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Exeter, Sheffield Wednesday and Barrow, Sunderland and Norwich all still to play. Right, let's get it underway. First out, Yeovil Town of the Vanarama National League. They will be at home to Brentford of the Premier League. Giant killers in the past, of course. Yeovil. Crawley Town will play Weymouth, and we're out. Second game, we have an opportunity, I feel, against a League Two opposition to get ourselves into the fifth round for the first time ever. Let's have the rest of the draw. The final game out is Blackpool versus West Brom, our second opponents of the episode. And here is the full draw. I'm not going to go all the way through it. Bournemouth and Tottenham, a standout match. Bournemouth, of course, in the Championship this season. And Bristol City at home to Lincoln City. They stand a chance of getting through to the next round. Manchester City will play Sunderland or Norwich. Manchester United. Can we find Manchester United? Where are they? Manchester United or Oxford will be away to Wolves of the Premier League, should they get that far. Right, I'll hand you back, and we will go back and have a look at the schedule, because it will be in there. I'm hoping. There it is. In the next episode, we're going to come back for Norwich and Crawley Town in the next episode. So it's going to be a Championship match against Norwich. Lost to Norwich last time out, of course. And then Crawley Town going to play Millwall offline. Did we play Millwall earlier in the season? We did. In fact, it was the opening day of the season. Beat them by 1-0 on that occasion. Right, so there we are. Set ourselves up for the next episode as well. Right, it's 5 days down to match day. We'll be back for that. So here we are at match day, having won the third round of the FA Cup convincingly against Huddersfield. Today, we need to put our Championship dreams back on track with a win against West Brom. That's what we're out to do, as we've checked in once before Lost to them last time out, of course, by a 1-0. So a win today would be rather splendid. And that's what we're looking for. In other news, I can tell you that Ronan Darcy and also Ross Stewart have both been put on the transfer list. So they potentially will be leaving us. The other question is, will our new recruit in defence make a start today? And here is the side that faces West Bromwich Albion in this Sky Bet Championship. Match day 27 as we tried to get back to winning ways in the league as well as the FA Cup. Virginia is in goal. Olsen, De Bayo and Joe making his debut in defence. The player that has dropped out is Billy G, but he needs a rest. So he has been rested. He kicked up a bit of a fuss because he thinks he's been removed. That's not the case. Just going to rotate a little bit more in that defensive line. Johnson and Lawrence continue as the wing backs. That's pretty much the only change, to be fair. Russell Dunny between them. Patterson and Derry continue in those attacking wide places. Then Zingo continues behind Wakachu up front. And then it's Winterbottom, Armitage, G, Holman, Linton, Adamson, O'Grady, Mackham, Frenson and Jebson on the bench. The only player dropping out of that bench is Zoran Juric, who makes way for Billy G. And Yo, of course, coming in to the team. That's the team that will face West Bromwich. Here we are once again at the Bob Lucas, playing our by now familiar formation. Face West Bromwich Albion today, playing in a sort of a minty greeny colour, but they are playing a 4-4-2, and that's been our downfall certainly in the Championship last few games. They are in 13th on 33. We are second on 57 points. And the first highlight comes just 5 minutes in. Wakachu winning that ball back. Let's hope 4-4-2s aren't going to be our nemesis. Then Zingo over the top to Derry. And it's a good save by Leach. Pushes it out for a corner. Derry, who scored 2 goals against Huddersfield, of course. And coming forward there. Then Zingo chipping that ball in. Derry hitting it first time. Russell Denny with the corner. We scored from corners in the last match. And gone wide. I thought we had again. Who was it headed this ball in? It was De Bayo. And Yo was right behind him. Leach out of his goal. Half hour mark coming up. Yo heading that across. Patterson. Olsen. Johnson comes forward, marauding forward, chips this ball in, looking for Derry. It's headed it down, and Wakachu profits from it. 20th goal of the season for Wakachu. And on 31 minutes, we do take a lead, and it was Johnson to hold that ball up again for Derry. Derry, instead of taking the header at goal, headed it down for Wakachu. He had 2 defenders on him, couldn't get any direction on target. Headed it down, just nodded it down for Wakachu, who volleyed it into the back of the net. 33 on the clock. Lawrence with the throw-in. And Zingo. To Joe. Lawrence chips this one in. Oh, just taken off of, I think it was Patterson, who was lurking there. And well defended. And they come away on a counter-attack. Need to be defending this. And Johnson just takes it, picks it up, takes it away. Back to Yale, Virginia. Joe. Lawrence. Finds Nzingo. Derry. Oof. Crossfield to Patterson. Patterson lets Johnson, who's in acres of space, cut inside. Back to Patterson, but it was a poor ball, really. Defender was there. And Derry's going to cut that out through to Wakachu. And Wakachu says thank you very much. 21st of the season for Wakachu. And on 35 minutes, we take a 2-goal lead. And this is the sort of form that we should have been in the last episode, but for some reason, had a bit of a wonky turn. Derry spotting the mistake by the defender and puts Wakachu in again. Lawrence with a throw-in to Russell Denny. Back to Lawrence. Lawrence, nearly lost that ball, but he's got Russell Denny in. Derry, who's having a fantastic game. Derry really just deserves a goal himself, really. Derry, and he was caught in that half-hearted, and they come away with the ball. I need to be very careful here. And got ourselves back in a position, and poor ball again. Wakachu through to Derry. Derry is on his own. He's wriggling away there, and he's had a shot, but Leach is equal to it. Yeah, Virginia, 45th minute of the game. Out to Lawrence. Lawrence along the line to Nzingo, who we've not seen too much of today. Nzingo releases Derry. Derry cross it in. And Wakachu, he gets his hat-trick. Third of the season. And, Derry has supplied him all three. And 3 assists for Derry, 3 goals for Wakachu, and we take a 3-goal lead on the stroke of half-time. And the defender deflected it somewhat. Wakachu was blocked off, but defender deflected it into his path, really. And half-time's arrived. Splendid first half, 14 shots, 6 on target. 3.18, 54% of the possession. They've had 3 shots, 2 on target, 0.13 and 46% of the possession. 3 goals for Wakachu, 3 assists for Jesse Derry, both playing a fantastic game. I'm looking forward to the second half now. Well, on 52 minutes, they have a free kick. And it's swung, it's come back up the woodwork, and they've got one back. Lewis Potter there to put it away, but he's offside. It won't count. It won't count. It stays at 3-0. It's come back off the woodwork, and Lewis Potter just went too early. And on 86 minutes, making 2 changes, Travis Patterson is off. He's been replaced by Stefan Adamson. But more to the point, Glory Nzingo has picked up an potential knee injury. So we've taken him off, and he's replaced by O'Grady Macken. We're nearly 72 minutes on the clock, making 2 changes. Tiredness creeping in. Jesse Derry's had a good day out there, and he's been replaced by Josiah Linton, who comes in on the left. Adamson moving out to the right. And our other change that we've made at this point in time is we've taken off James DeBeo, who he's not having such a good day there. Olsen moves into middle of the defensive line, and Billy G is on for James DeBeo. And the ball won by Adamson in that attacking role. Johnson just got to cross this ball in. He's pulled it in for... and it's taken away. It's gone for a corner. Russell Denny to take the corner. Swings it in. Nobody there on that near post, but Linton picks it up. Crossed it for Johnson. Johnson tries to curl a shot, but it's wide. Adamson winning that ball in midfield there. Johnson couldn't get that shot away early. Linton, it was O'Grady Macken with the defender who managed to put it away. And right on time, we're just making our final change. Holman has come on for the very tired Carl Johnson. Lawrence moving out to the left, and Holman coming in on the right wing-back position. It's all over. We've kept another clean sheet, which is rather splendid. Wakachu with a hat-trick, 31, 35 and 45 minutes. Nothing in that second half, but Wakachu getting a 10. 4 clear keeper passes, 2 clear-cut chances created, and 3 goals scored. He just beat Jesse Derry to the player of the match. Yale Virginia doing well in goal. They had 5 shots, 3 on target, 0.22 and 46% of the possession. We had 24 shots. We peppered them, 8 of which were on target, 4.37. Probably should have had another goal out of it. 54% of the possession. We're back to form, boys and girls. Well, news before the roundup of the scores for the day. I can tell you that Nzingo's going to be out for 5 to 6 days, injured after sprinting, twisted his knee. So hopefully he will be back. I'm not sure whether he'll be back for the Millwall game, but if not, he will be back for the game after that. And Nzingo, possibly chance to give him a bit of a rest. He has played very, very well of late, made 19 appearances, 2 from the bench so far this season. And he's been extremely good. So that's the news. Let's have a look at the results. Well, the full set of results in. I can tell you that we have closed the gap on Fulham and we are just behind them on goal difference. If we'd scored a couple more goals, we would have overtaken them. But it's all square. If you look at it at the top here, both played 27, both won 18 matches, both drawn 6, both lost 3. They have a goal difference of 32, whereas we have a goal difference of 31, both on 60 points. Burnley still 3 points adrift of us in third. Then Bournemouth are fourth on 52, 8 points clear of them at the moment. Derby are fifth on 50 points. And then Millwall are sixth on 48. Norwich just outside the playoff places on 44. We are 16 points clear of them right now, and that's how it stands. Norwich beating Barnsley by 3-0 to put them up into 7th place. Bournemouth beating Nottingham Forest by 4-2, which is why they've moved up into 4th place. Fulham losing to Luton Town by 2-0. That's a turn up for the books. Huddersfield beating Derby by 2-0, did us a favour there. Portsmouth and Millwall 2-0. Preston and Plymouth a 1-1 draw. Queen's Park Rangers losing to Burnley by 2-1. Sheffield United maybe have got back on a bit of form. 3-1 winners against Middlesbrough. Hull beating Stoke 2-1. Watford won. Swansea 0. We know 3-0 against West Brom. And Coventry beating Birmingham in the Midlands derby by 2-0. That's how the top of the table looks. The bottom of the table, Luton have a 2-point gap over Stoke. Huddersfield do have a bit of a gap over. Don't think they play. When did they play? So West Brom have lost 2 in a row now. Oh, I'm sure Huddersfield played it. Huddersfield, there we go. 2-0 wins over Derby. Of course they are. So they have a 5-point gap over Luton. And then at the bottom, it's 3 teams, all separated by 1 point. Stoke and Preston on 22. Nottingham Forest on 21. Plymouth, they are down there on 15 points now. Some 7 points adrift of Stoke in the safety area, as it were, of the table. That's where we're at then at the end of the episode. We're going to play Millwall offline. They are currently lying in 6th. That's going to be a bit of a toughie. Then we face Norwich, who beat us last time out when we played them. Beat us 1-0 on that occasion. But we have overturned West Brom. So who knows? Norwich and Crawley Town in the 4th round of the FA Cup next time round. And then we'll see where we go ahead of that after be into February. And of course, the Crawley Town will be at the end, virtually the end of the transfer window as well. Well, I hope you can join me for that. If you've enjoyed today's episode, though, please leave me that big thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification button. That will keep you up to date with all future episodes of Bottom to the Top and our other series Going Dutch as they are released. New episodes of Bottom to the Top will be released every Tuesday and Friday, 4:15 p.m. And the best way of keeping up to date with what's happening on the channel is follow me on X at JustOffside2. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you for the next episode. It's going to be episode 115. It's out on Tuesday. Until then, have yourselves a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.